Hello and welcome to Mostly Minnesota Music Podcast Edition. I'm Ann Tracy. I'm here with my co-host,
Heather Baker.
Yes, and I'm excited. We are learning about an organization that's new for me, Flavor World, and we've got Drew Kincaid with us. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we are excited to talk to you. We heard about you through Mike Michaels, with the Orange Goodness. And he said, you guys got to talk. So taking a look at some of the stuff that you do, but tell us a little bit about what you do and how you've come to do it.
Yeah, so Flavor World started as a clothing brand like 4 years ago now. I was in school for engineering, but was kind of bored of that. And so wanted to just make art and make shirts and start a business. So the clothing brand was a great way to do it. But it quickly kind of grew beyond just clothing. I never really wanted it to be just clothes. So about a year ago now, we kind of got into the music scene and started Flavor World Records kind of as like a subsidiary of the clothing brand. And with that, I mean, we want to grow into a like fully functioning record label. Of course, that takes a ton of money and resources, which we don't quite have yet. So we're starting much more as a collective instead of funding projects. We're just kind of creating a platform to put a bunch of artists into a different spotlight. So our first project was Live from Flavor World, it's called, which we're recording live performances right here inside of the Flavor World studio. And so we just have a bunch of different Minneapolis, St. Paul bands come through and perform a three song set. We edit it, mix it, and put it out on YouTube just to help try to get them out to new audiences and kind of also categorize the latest in the Minneapolis, St. Paul music scene.
Nice. Have you done about 20 of those or so?
Yeah, I think we've released 16, but we actually have like 25 recorded. We're recording them faster than we're releasing them. So we're building up a little bit of a stockpile, kind of unintentionally, but
that's well, and I enjoy them because you kind of get a flavor of what the band is like. Well, I mean, Orange Goodness, I've obviously watched that one. I know those guys as well, but Jail was one that I hadn't seen before, and I love that they had the storyline kind of going through their whole, which is great.
Yeah.
Do you work with folks talking about how do you want to do this? What do you want to get out of, or?
Yeah, I'll always talk to the artist beforehand and try to figure out, because we want to make the set different for every single video. So if you watch a few of them, you'll notice every time the way we have it set up is different. And part of that is because this idea kind of comes from the NPR Tiny Desk series, where they're recording musicians in the NPR headquarters. But we can't do exactly what they did. So we wanted to, have it local so we can have all these smaller bands on, and then also keep it interesting because the desk is always the same for all of their performances. It's always the same spot, same layout. So we were hoping to add another level of uniqueness to each video. And so, yes, I'll talk to the artists beforehand and see if they have anything like any colors or any sort of a vibe they want to give off. If they want it to be kind of dark or happy or those sorts of adjectives. But I'll usually try and encourage. I really like to have fun with them too. So like the Jail one, I'm glad you saw that one where we had like the storyline kind of with the skits mixed in.
Yeah.
I love that. I wish all of them would be like that. Not always are bands so open to just kind of goofy, silly stories, skits involved, which is fine and total respect to them. But personally, I love doing all that. So I always try and get that out of the artists before the day comes that we record it.
Do you make the art or have them bring in certain items that represents them or the vibe that they want, or how do you go about that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Most of it I will make, or some of my friends or the people that kind of help on the Flavor World side of things will make. But if anyone else, so like for the Creeping Charlie one, our theme was to have it be a bunch of plants because Creeping Charlie is a plant. And So I only have a couple plants here, but they brought like a ton of plants. So it's always kind of collaborative, but I usually make most of it because I love to. It's a great outlet of mine. So
Do you make like the merch or anything for any of the bands or want to do that? I guess I don't know
Mhm.
that, but I saw some of your screen printing and stuff and I was like, ooh, it was interesting. Like in my head, I thought, like, do you listen to their music and then get some idea and then create something just for that day or
Mhm.
something? Or I don't know. It just seemed like a cool idea, different spawn off from maybe what they would have done.
Yeah, for the live sets, the recordings, I'll definitely listen to their music a lot and try and feel it out. I've done a couple bands clothing, like merch for them. Um, and I'll do something similar. Yeah, well, I'll listen to it, but I'll always try and communicate with them and see like what they're looking for with the merch and how they want it to look. But I do think that is one place where Flavor World Records can be a nice organization where it's, if we can offer to make the merch, design the merch, help with the album art, do these live recordings, do studio recordings, just kind of like a one-stop shop. So I definitely hope to continue making the merch for bands as much as possible.
How do you pick who is coming on too? Or do people
Well,
contact you or how does that work, I guess?
yeah, at first it was just, it was interesting because when we first started this, I only really had like two or three like bands that I was friends with that I knew would be willing to do it without, like the assurance of it being a quality product, like just people that were willing to take a chance on this thing we were starting. Um, and since then, it's really just continued to grow where every band knows at least a couple other bands. So when someone comes in to do a set, we have a lot of conversation, and then I'll usually ask if they have anyone else we should contact or get to know. And so either that or I try to go to as many live shows as I can. And sometimes I'll find a band and talk to them after. It's like, yo, you should come record with us. It'd be a lot of fun. But as of lately, people have kind of been contacting us more frequently just as the project continues to grow. So yeah, through all avenues, people seem to want to do these sets.
When you have a great following, especially on YouTube, but other channels, I assume as well, but you do a good job promoting them because they get a lot of views. And do you have any recommendations, any tips for folks who are listening on how you do that? Because that is really where the power is.
For promoting them? Yeah. Well, definitely a lot of like smaller clips, like more consumable formats, because it's kind of just the sad truth that most people that follow the account and what we're up to, they don't watch the full live set, or a lot of people don't, well, I'd say most people don't even go to YouTube to watch the video itself. Most people will just watch kind of what we put on Instagram or Facebook or anything, um, and consume it that way. So I definitely try and keep that going, like follow through. After we put out the live set, I'll try and keep posting little clips, little snippets, and trying to keep it interesting so that even if someone did go watch the full live set, they won't be annoyed to see a clip of something they already saw again. Hopefully they'll see it and be like, oh, that was a cool moment. That was really awesome. So just continuing to talk about it really, and engaging with people, going to shows and shaking hands, all that helps.
You guys had a part in the Orange Goodness two videos at House of Balls, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. So that video I directed and edited for them.
That's impressive. It was visually, and those guys are so energetic and theatrical. Like, I'm sure it was like a playland at House of Balls anyways, but I mean, just, I don't know, it felt expensive, you know, like high quality, but it had such rich visual content, plus, like I said, their personality. It was really a really nice video.
Yeah, thank you. That's good to hear because it actually wasn't that expensive. So that's a good thing to hear.
Even
But
better.
yeah, but yeah, that was kind of a collaboration in a way, at least conceptually, between me and Mike Michael. He really wanted to do a video at House of Balls, and I had never been there before, so that was his idea. And yeah, what a great place to shoot a video. Just everywhere you point the camera, there's something interesting going on, and then yeah, the guys in that band are very fun performers as well, and yeah, theatrical and expressive and very willing to have fun with it and do different ideas.
Have to connect with their Beyond Wednesday series at the House of Balls and see if there are more folks you can work with there. I mean, that would be a dream location. It is an amazing place.
It would, yeah. It's a very cool place.
And I imagine once the weather changes, as it warms up, they'll bring back that Wednesday series that they did through most of COVID.
I think I've heard of that. I think I've heard of that, but I actually haven't seen too much.
Well, you'll have to. A lot of very experimental, so it'd be a fun group to work with. Paul Metzger and folks like that. So that would be a fun, yeah.
Do you do many, or have you done many others outside of your Flavor World studio, or are you embracing that, or do you kind of want to keep it as your studio sessions, I guess, Tiny Desk?
Yeah, well, I like to do music videos anywhere, really. Just like for a single song, doing a music video for a band. I haven't done that many of them. I think the Orange Goodness was the third one I had ever done, just music video. But the live sets of like the Live from Flavor World series, we like to try and keep that here in this location, just for consistency and memorability, and yeah, I guess consistency more than anything else. But
how did you get into doing the videos all together? You seem to have a series or a bunch of just kind of fun videos too. The Life of the Zucchini was one I.
Oh, yeah. That's a funny one for sure.
It is a funny one.
Well, that definitely goes way back to like before Flavor World Records, before even Flavor World. I always really liked to make videos with my friends or even just myself for whatever purpose. It's just fun to film and edit these ideas. But I kind of felt like there wasn't much of a way for me to like make a career out of that, at least not in making my own videos. So that's kind of partly what Flavor World was to me, is like, it was more than just a clothing brand. It was like an opportunity to pursue all of these different outlets and kind of have them all contribute to something that could be my career. So while video making still isn't like my sole career, it definitely is a large part in what Flavor World is. And when we make videos, it helps the brand grow. So it's become a point where, yeah, making videos is productive for my career, which was kind of the hope. So I've always had a love for making videos, but Flavor World, and especially Flavor World Records, has allowed me to really dive into that deep.
Do you have other avenues like that that you know you'd like to weave into your career path here?
That's a good question. I mean, some of them already are a little bit woven in, like music, of course, with Flavor World Records, and I make a little bit of music myself. So I'd love to keep growing those things. But also visual art. I love to paint, and it's like a lot of the paintings in the live sets in the backgrounds are paintings I've done. And that's another thing where it's, you know, it's really hard to make it as a artist, as a painter, that's just painting original works. That's very, very rare for that to happen. But yeah, if I can find a way to have it connect directly to Flavor World or Flavor World Records, or um, then yes. And so like an example of that is actually with Jail. They have a new album coming out in a little bit, and they wanted me to make their album art. So I painted a really big picture that will become their album art. And so that's another way where Flavor World has allowed me to paint just kind of for fun, but it's productive for the larger mission.
Very entrepreneurial.
Yeah, definitely.
But it takes it takes a certain something, certain, you know, certain kind of person to be that entrepreneurial.
Thank you. It's funny to like look back at my past, because I never really thought of myself as an entrepreneur until I don't know what made me realize it, but it turns out I always kind of have been, because I used to have, you know, lawn care businesses and would make duct tape products. You know, my childhood is just filled with all these like random business ideas that really went nowhere because I was in 5th grade. But but they show to me that the entrepreneurial spark was kind of always there.
Well, and I always think there's, I mean, you can take classes in entrepreneurialism there without a doubt. I certainly, but I think there's also something internal, but you must have learned a lot.
Mhm.
But, you know, if you run a lawn care business, you got to charge people, you got, you know, you find out when you've bid too low, when you've bid too high, all of that learning experience.
Yeah, I think a lot of entrepreneurship is just through, experience and trial and error. At least that's the way I've liked to go about it. And a lot of it's kind of intuitive. Like, like I don't really know if you need to be taught that like a business needs to make money. For
You know,
instance, you know, like
you don't need to be taught. Some people do, but that
I
gets
guess.
to your point. There is something very innate in some people.
Yep, that's very true. And it's not like I've gone entirely without education. I haven't had like formal entrepreneurial education, but I love to watch just like random YouTube videos on how Steve Jobs made Apple, or how this, you know, just random like business things that I can tell I've picked up a lot of little bits here and there throughout the years.
Well, I have to think that's something that you can bring to the musicians as well.
Mhm.
You know, we've talked to a lot of musicians in the last couple of years, you know, hundreds. And some of them have a business and some of them don't. Some of them has a business sense about what they're doing, but a lot of them would happily give that over. Or, you know, just not that you're going to be doing their accounting kind of thing, but just helping with that,
Yeah.
with the branding of it, with the coming up with some of the ideas and monetizing what they do.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what I would love to offer artists is like kind of, the one-stop shop where we can give them all sorts of things and kind of help them build their identity. And like I know a lot of bands and musicians that that will never ever post on like social media or anything. And kind of going back to when you asked like what's a good way to promote or how they get views, it's like, well, you kind of got to be going on social media for at least that's the easiest way to go about it. So hopefully I can help all of these artists kind of find their footing with that. But I definitely think the artists are now, I mean, they kind of always have been entrepreneurs, but to be an artist, especially now, I feel like you kind of have to take on a bit of an entrepreneurial role and build it's like yourself is the business, your art is the business.
Well, I was going to say, especially now, since many bands aren't touring or doing, you know, getting out as much, promoting their shows and whatever, you know, that it's more limited than it has been. So it's nice to have sessions at Flavor World or your videos and stuff too. And And for people that, and I'm kind of that way where I don't want all the attention or, hey, look at me, whatever, you can
Mhm.
offer putting their images and stuff out there so they don't have to do it constantly. And that might make somebody feel more comfortable too.
Mhm. Yeah, that's very true. And definitely a good point with just COVID having such an effect on live shows and just the careers of pretty much every musician. Um, well, everybody for that matter, but every musician for sure. And I think the timing of this project was pretty nice. It worked out where there was definitely a desire to see these bands live, and the bands wanted to perform their music, but there just really wasn't anywhere for either of those things to happen. So I know a few groups that we had come through. They said like, "Oh, this is the first show we've done in 2 years or something," and like, "Oh, it's so great to just be back," even though they're just performing like technically to me and Brett and a couple other friends and photographers that are here. It's still nice to set everything up in a new little venue and perform your songs to a few people and a few cameras and have that sort of experience.
Feels more real life than them just sitting in front of a computer, you know,
Yeah.
doing whatever. It just, because we, miss it, but I can't imagine being an artist and just want that feedback or see all the views that you've allowed them to get, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's been nice. It's cool because we'll have people tell us, like, if I go to a show sometimes now, people will like like, "Oh, we found this band because of one of your live sets," or something like that. And or we'll have people in those bands tell us that people keep commenting on the live set, and that's very cool, just to know that people are seeing these and appreciating them, and appreciating them enough to comment on them later, or if they see the band in public. So it's definitely getting some reach for both the bands and Flavor World.
Well, when you work with a wide variety of bands, it brings in different audiences.
Hmm. Exactly. And that's another thing, is we don't really want to be bound to any sort of genre. We try to have on really any genre, any kind of person, just no judgment on, even if we don't think they're like, if their genre is not our favorite, um, it's probably someone's favorite genre. So there's an audience for every kind of music.
I had a friend who always said, every band is somebody's favorite.
Yeah, very true. You just gotta find that person.
That person, that laser audience.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, are you still the other work that you do, the shirts and the hoodies and everything? Are you still coming out with new designs for those, or is this starting to take up? Yep. Tell us a little bit about that too.
Yeah, it's still happening. The Flavor World Records kind of took over a little more of my time. It definitely kind of put the clothing not really on the back burner, but the side burner, I guess. Because I used to just do the clothing, so it was much more frequent. But yeah, just recording these and especially editing them, like editing the videos, takes a really long time. But anyways, yes, the clothing is still happening. Just had a collection of new stuff come out in December, just last December, so a couple months ago.
Nice.
And another thing I've been doing for almost 100 weeks now, a really long time, is every single Friday I'll release a one-of-one piece of clothing. So just a hoodie that's a design I've never done before. I'll just sew something and release just one of them every Friday. So I've been doing that the whole time, but the large collections of new shirts, new hats, new hoodies, those are happening a little less frequently, just because I'm just so obsessed with the Flavor World Records. Me and everyone who I'm doing it with is just having so much fun with it. It's really hard to stop or even slow down.
I gotta put in a request for patches to be made. I'm a big patch.
Patches. Okay. I have the materials to do so I could.
Okay, just throwing it out there. I could wear a bunch, all the styles for you.
Awesome. Patches.
There you go. I think the videos, the music, I think it's very exciting. And as you said, the timing is good because it's a time when people are really cognizant of what they're able to do in different ways to reach audiences. Because even though some of us may still go to live shows 5 or 7 times a week, you know, a lot of people aren't. You know, and we want to be respectful of that. So it's a great opportunity, and you have the marketing sense to know how to get it to new people, and that's a hard thing for bands to do. I think, you know, they can be very strong with their own people, but it's hard to reach the people you don't know. But you seem to have a knack for it, so that's great.
Yeah, it's been helpful, and I hope to keep helping artists that way. And I mean, there's, as I'm sure you both know very well, there's a lot of really talented musicians in Minnesota. So I really just want to help them get the spotlight I think that they deserve. So even if they don't know how to do the marketing or reach these audiences, hopefully I can help out at least a little bit.
That's great. I will put this in the notes, but for you know, a lot of the artists do listen to some of our interviews. Where is the best place to find you?
Probably Instagram, honestly. If you would like to watch the live sets, definitely go to YouTube. We have a playlist on the Flavor World YouTube channel. But to contact me or get into any sort of business or try and get a set of your own, I would say Instagram. Our Instagram is Flavor World Records.
Perfect. I feel like we're going to be hearing more and more and more about Flavor World Records, and I look forward to that.
I hope so. Yeah, we have plans to keep going and hopefully do some live shows if things kind of calm down a little bit. Would love to someday get a venue of our own. So yeah, yes, hopefully you keep hearing about Flavor World Records.
Nice. Maybe you can take over Part Wolf or something. That'd be awesome. There you go.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah, really.
That's on a lot of people's short list. So
yeah, true.
Yeah, Drew, thank you for talking to us. This has been fun to hear more about what you're doing and to just feel the enthusiasm coming off you.
Yeah, thank you both for what you do as well. It's a pleasure chatting.
Thanks.
Thanks.